This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Good morning, I'm Sheriff Sam Page of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. Today we're here with the Sheriff Spotlight brought to you by Rockingham Update, and we appreciate everybody. Roy, thank you for helping us bring it about and let everybody know what we're doing. Sheriff Spotlight, I was going to say, is very important because it helps us to be able to highlight different activities within the Sheriff's Office, because the Sheriff's Office is not just the Sheriff, it's multiple moving parts. And today, it gives me an honor to introduce Captain Wendell Brown. Captain Brown is fairly new, promoted as captain, but not new as our detention, one of our detention supervisors. So I'm going to start off as, first of all, is Wendell, you've been working with the Sheriff's Office for how long?
16 years.
16 years. Now, it's kind of interesting. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, but you've been here 16 years. So you worked at our old facility.
Yes, sir.
The old facility was a jail that was built back in 1976. I was going to go back a little bit. You know, the jail before that was built in, like I said, 1900s, and up until 1976, it held about 12 beds, 12 inmates. So it didn't have a lot of room. That was across the street. Then in 1976, the new jail was finished, and it housed roughly what? 90 some?
Yes.
90 some inmates, and about 16 female inmates.
Correct.
Okay, out of that 90. And well, what did you like about that? What did you like about that facility? Not much.
I liked it. It was, I say we went from Mayberry to Jetsons, meaning we went from old school to state of the art.
Okay. So basically, it was an older jail, okay, and an older design and concept, and then we moved in 2010. We moved to a new.
Yes.
But let me go back to something else that I have skipped. Is what brought you here to Rockingham County? How did you find Rockingham County? What's your connection to Rockingham County?
My wife is from here.
Okay.
I met her. I moved here. When we first met, I was still working in Winston. That's where I'm from originally. My job, I was laid off at my job, and I began looking for a job.
Well, now, what your educational background? Because you still have connection.
Yes.
You went to school here, didn't you?
I went to Rockingham Community College.
And what did you take in school?
Information Systems Technology.
So you learned about IT issues, and you got your associate's degree in that program. And then you later came to the Sheriff's Office, but you started with Rockingham Community College. So that's just to let you know, Rockingham Community College has been going a long time, but they've got a lot of good classes there. They can help you in your future here and stuff. So anyway, your future moved forward. You came from Winston to the Sheriff's Office looking for an opportunity. And did you know much about detention officer working in the jail side?
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I came and I excelled.
Well. What were some of the challenges as a new detention officer? You know, before you became a supervisor, what were some of the challenges to you that you had to learn as you learned how to do your job as a detention officer and working in a correctional setting?
De-escalation measures, being able to talk to people.
So what you're saying is there's potential for arguments and people for not agreeing and stuff when you're in close quarters? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you had the opportunity. You were able to go to a school to train you about how to formally the work you need to know as a detention officer. What are some of the things that you learned from the detention officer school that you went through? Was that local?
Yes, I actually went to Forsyth County for jail school.
Was it Forsyth Tech?
Yes, sir.
And then you went to jail school, and that runs about how long?
5 weeks.
5 weeks. And after you graduated from there, because you'd already been working at the Sheriff's Office on the job training,
correct.
Then you went to the correctional school, and then when you came back out, you continued working. So did you work with Mona Webster?
No.
She had left, hadn't she?
She had left.
Mona, did you start with Captain Steele?
Steele, yes.
So you worked with Captain Floyd Steele, who's formerly with he was with the Sheriff's Office and with the Eden Police Department, retired from the Eden Police Department, and as a lieutenant. And then you worked with him when he was the jail administrator.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then at some point, you were promoted to sergeant.
Yes. I was promoted to sergeant in 2010, and
So you were you promoted once we came to the new facility?
Shortly thereafter.
Okay, but prior to coming to the new facility, a lot of people don't understand this, is we ran the jail that housed 90 inmates, but we also were the prison unit, where we're currently at. The prison unit used to be here, the Wentworth Prison Unit,
Correct.
and it housed roughly how many?
I think it was 60.
60,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So, okay, so 60 inmates. And so basically we ran 2 facilities. Now, were you here or were you at the main jail?
I was at the main jail.
Did you ever come over and work at this facility too, at the annex?
I did, yes, sir.
Okay. Still same challenges?
Yes.
Being able to de-escalate situations here? Because when you're in a correctional or jail environment, you have to try to get along.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our inmates have to get along with one another, or at least try to, and also try to get along with staff.
Correct.
So everybody's trying to work together to basically maintain a safe and secure jail, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so fast forward, you said that you like this facility better because it was a move more modern.
Yes.
Our old jail had the bars, and it was a linear setup. Basically, it was a main hall, and then hallways that went off from it, and you had actually cells with bars, steel bars. Here, it's more of a dorm setting, right?
Correct.
Can you describe that to our listeners here?
Yes. Here we have pods, and we have 4 pods and 1 dorm.
Now, a pod is basically a housing area for specific inmates.
Correct. And we have 2 tiers. So we have a bottom tier and a top tier.
Okay.
And we have inmates housed on the bottom and top. They're behind the door in the pods, but in the dorm it's open, so they're free to walk around as they please.
So in the pods, in the individual room where you may have 1 or 2 inmates together staying in that one room, you secure the door.
Correct.
And they have what they need there when the doors are secure, the bathroom facilities, sinks and stuff like that.
Correct.
And then when they need showers, there's a shower area too.
Yes, sir.
So because a lot of people don't go to the jails, prior to the COVID, we did tours and stuff like this because we wanted our citizens to know what a jail is and how we operate.
Yes, sir.
And within the jail system, so like you do a lot of walking, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're concrete floors, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Food service. There's certain requirements that the state requires us to do. Like in our facility, who is our food service now?
It is Summit.
Summit, and basically we've had the same food service, but change of name.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
But we've had them since I came in
They were
office.
here when I started.
99 maybe, and because in the old days we used to actually have a person that was a designated cook that helped prepare, and it had inmates that voluntarily worked with us trustees to work with us to deliver the meals. But we've changed that where it's now all our employees and the cook staff that are hired from the company.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we prepare all our foods there and stuff like that. Have you had some of the jail food before?
No, I haven't.
You know I have.
Yes.
Yeah, I generally come around on hot dog day, but our meals are professionally prepared. With our company, they have to have the meals. Actually, the meals have to be posted on what's going to be fed, what type of meals are going to be fed during that week, right? A week ahead, and also meals are maintained. So in case there's any issues or questions about a meal, they have a sample of that meal that they hold for so long. Do you know how long they hold that?
I do not.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. Not a problem. I'm throwing you tough questions
Yes.
here. But now I do know that just a couple things I've learned over the years is that the food has to be at serve temperature is 140 degrees.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I also know that with our contract, we serve 2 hots and 1 cold.
That is correct.
Right? And then I know one year when they had power outages, and one of the local stores had the refrigerators go out. Roy, you're gonna like this. The refrigerator went out and they had a bunch of ice cream, and they donated the ice cream to the jail. So the inmates got some ice cream.
Wow.
But anyway, they do have desserts. There is some inmates that have special diets.
Correct.
And then there are also. Do you know the calorie? What we set for the calories per inmate?
2,500.
I was going to say that's a daily required.
Yes.
2,500, and so a little bit about the meals. I was going to go into this. How about exercise? When inmates want to exercise, where do they exercise at?
We have a day room, and we also have a rec yard. So when it's raining,
that's a recreation yard, yes.
Yes, when it's raining, the rec yard is closed because it's basically outside.
But it's enclosed, but it's an outside walk area.
Right.
What are the rules there? When you're using the area,
you have to be moving. You
so
can't sit down.
Because it is a recreation yard, so you can walk, you can run, but you can't just sit.
Correct.
Because it's supposed to be for exercise. Because when you're in confinement, you do need to do some exercise, do need some walking, okay, for your system, for your body. Okay. Now, what about when did you get certified as a law enforcement officer, as a sworn officer? Because you were not sworn originally, you were trained in detention, certified as a detention officer. But when did you become a certified law enforcement with arrest power?
2019.
So about 3 years now, you've been a certified officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have certain additional abilities. You can serve warrants if you need to.
Yes, sir.
We also have some other supervisors that are also sworn, and we have some deputies. I don't know how many right now, but off the cuff. But I know we do have some deputies that are sworn also that work in a detention setting.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the duties they might have?
Transporting inmates to the hospital if they need to.
We may have to transport inmates to the hospital. We may have to transport inmates to
prison.
Okay, or central prison for safekeeping, depending on the situation.
Yes, sir.
So we have transportation officers that are certified. We have some detention officers that are certified as sworn law enforcement officers, dual certified.
Correct.
And then of course, like yourself, you just got certified about 3 years ago. How was that basic law enforcement training?
It was tough. I was the oldest one in the class.
I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but I said you don't look like you've aged a bit since I first met you. But you've learned. I know you've learned a lot and stuff. Okay. Well, I was going to say is a lot of people don't understand, because a lot of people don't come to our facility. Right. A small percentage of people come to our facility, I mean, in an arrest situation. But if a person is arrested by a local law enforcement agency, highway patrol, or sheriff's office, can you tell the public how that process, how that rolls?
Okay. Well, you're brought before a magistrate, given a bond. After that, we'll bring you into custody. We allow you to make a phone call, but it's once we finish our booking process, we need to get you in the computer, and that's how it generates your phone PIN to be able to use the phone.
Okay.
That's one of the major things they think when they come in, they get to use the phone. We have to.
But we do make sure that because persons that get arrested do have loved ones, do have family members.
Correct.
And if they do get arrested, they're going to want to know. And do you ever get calls from family members on the jail line checking in to checking on the status and the bond status?
Yes. That's daily occurrence. It's no problem. We can give them that information. All they need to do is supply us with the first and last name.
If they get a first and last name,
yes,
then then you can let them know what their bond is and when their court appearances and stuff
Correct.
like that. Because a lot of, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people that want to get their loved ones out when they do have a bond, and a bond basically is this: it's either a secure bond,
correct,
unsecured bond, or written promise.
Correct.
Right? But if a person's placed on a secure bond where they have to post monies, money can be posted by property. Shown by property, by cash, or by hiring a bondsman.
Correct.
Now with the cash and the property, when a person is in, say a person has like $1,000 bond, for example, secure bond. Once that bond has been satisfied by either showing of property that you have the property, and you put up your property to guarantee that person's appearance, because all it, bond is just for the purpose, bail is just for the purpose of guaranteeing appearance.
Correct.
Okay. When that court case and that obligation is finished, your property is released from that obligation. Now, if you put up, say, $1,000 cash, once that case is disposed of and the obligation is finished, then your money is returned.
Correct.
From the clerk's office. But the thing is, but with a bail agent, for example, if it's $1,000 and stuff like this, it's 100. It would be like if it was the max bail agent can charge is 15%.
Correct.
So $150 on 1,000.
Correct.
So you would have to put up $150 cash that you would not. It was not refundable, so you wouldn't get that back. But that's for them to do the service of getting that person out and guaranteeing that appearance. Of course, they also have people indemnify the bonds, like cosign, so that if the person doesn't show up, they can look at someone else also for liability. So there are three different types of releases. One is a written promise.
Yes, sir.
The other one's a secure bond, and the other one's an unsecured bond.
Correct.
If a person comes to the magistrate and it's an unsecured bond, once they sign the paperwork, they can be released.
They can.
If they're secure bond, they go back, they're transported, move back to the jail side, and then that's when you begin your processing. And of course, a written promise is like it says, written promise. Now those are formal arrest. The informal arrest is where somebody, like out in the public, does something where a citation can be issued. A citation can be issued, correct me now, for most minor misdemeanors.
Correct.
But there are some offenses such as like driving while impaired, where you have to be brought before a judge to set the conditions of your release. All right. So once a person is arrested, the bond's been set. They go back to the jail. They go to pre-booking. During pre-booking, what is the process there? If it's not a DWI arrest, because we do have a breathalyzer machine or Alka-Sensor machine. I'm old school. Alka-Sensor machine there and all that, and an intoxilizer. Okay, not the breathalyzer anymore. But after that person is pre-booked, we take them in front of a what? What is that? What is the Tech 84? A lot of people don't know what that is.
Yes, it's our scan system to make sure that they're not hiding anything on them. That was
It's a body scan system.
Yes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, what he's saying, the Tech 84 system is a system we how long have we had it? A year?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
About a year, and it cost about $150-some thousand. They're probably out of 100 counties in North Carolina, they're probably close to 50 that have them now. During COVID, they became very popular. But the reason why we got the body scan system is this: is if somebody took drugs or something that could harm them, swallowed them during the arrest process, they swallowed them, it should show up on that scan.
Correct.
It's a body because it does internal and external. If someone's hiding drugs or weapons or somewhere where we can't see them, it'll alert us to let us know. And then of course, if anybody has any weapons on their outside, their other person, it would also let us know. The main thing is what I'm concerned about, besides the weapon issues, is I don't want an inmate that got arrested and brought in that may have taken a vial or something of heroin or something like that, or fentanyl. When he swallows that, if that stuff busts inside them, what can it do to them? It'd kill them.
Yes, sir.
And we want to reduce any chances of any deaths in our jail and stuff like that. So with this system, it helps us identify, and it's not uncommon for us to see something we're not sure of, and we immediately send them where?
To the hospital.
To the hospital to be checked out for medical clearance. Okay. We've talked about bond. I want to go back one thing before. At that point, okay, you're booking, but one thing is there's also a thing that's being pushed, like in New York State, stuff like this, New York City, cashless bond. And do you know much about that?
No, sir.
Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's basically a person comes in, they're arrested. It's like a written promise they sign.
Yes.
They're not required to post a cash bond to get out. And that's what they're doing there. But I can tell you that as a former bail agent, is that I always believe that when you obligate somebody financially, they have a tendency to show up.
Right.
But when that written promise is not always a guarantee.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we got to the booking part, pre-booking. Now the person's been checked out. They've been wand with the metal detector. They've been checked out on the Tech 84 body scan system. They don't appear to have any drugs or anything. They're brought in, and I know there's information you have to get from the person. What's some type of screening information that you may ask as a detention officer in the pre-booking?
Okay. Obviously, we want to ask their name, make sure we have the person that we're.
We want to know who they are.
We think we have.
Yeah.
Where they live, emergency contact.
Contacts for family in case of emergency or something like this. What about an interview? Do we interview the officers that bring the person in to see if they can tell us anything about that person's condition or mental condition at the time? Explain that a little bit.
So
and why it's important.
Well, the officer was with them since the time they were arrested. They have most information, so we get as much as we can get from that arresting officer before we bring them into jail. A lot of times they will shut down and not speak to us, but the arresting officer already has
Yeah,
that information.
and the arresting officers, because a lot of people have the body camera stuff too, but the arresting officer can let us know if there are any things we need to know about, such as a mental health concern,
Right.
such as talking of suicide or wanting to harm themselves or others, or where they talk, or whether they say something about an addiction,
Correct.
or if they complain of injuries. Because if we know someone's complaining of injuries, and what should we do?
Get them checked out.
Get them checked out through our medical staff. That we have medical staff 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Correct.
But also when they're off, we also have access to the Rockingham County EMS, the paramedics. They can come in, and if they recommend shipment to the hospital, we get them to the hospital.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. That's how we protect. On the mental health side, we ask the questions. We have a mental health screening, initial intake screening, right? And we're trying to find out what if there's a risk.
Yes, if there's any risk of suicide.
Okay.
And it's based off of a point system. So if you
So it is a formulated program that's been designed by our medical provider that's helped us, because we work together as a team to develop these protocols for mental health screening and for medical screening. All right, so you've gone through that process right there. You have to go over to the machine that costs many thousands of dollars. It's called a live scan, and
Yes,
basically it's an electronic what?
fingerprint machine.
Yeah. In the old days, you used to do it with ink, and now we roll the prints electronically.
Yes.
And it's a lot less messy, right?
Yes, sir.
I can tell you. And then once a person is taken and dressed out, and his clothes and personal belongings are put away, they've already at that point they brought out they make their phone calls and everything, let their family knows where they're at. Then if they want to, and then we have to decide where we're going to house that person.
Correct.
And that's based on what's called classification.
Correct.
So classification means
you classify the inmate based off of their, I'll say, tendency. You keep the prey away from the predators.
okay, keep the prey. So what you're basically saying is there may be what's the word is called keepaways. So if you have a person that may be a gang member, you don't want to house them with another gang member of a different gang. If you have a person that it may be multiple issues that you may have to move people to make sure that you protect them.
Correct.
Again, protect them, the prey from the predators. Okay, and throughout the if a person stays in our facility for several days, several weeks, we're continually reclassifying people.
Correct.
And so you start at the high security end and you work your way to the other. We always try to make sure that we house somebody with another person.
Correct.
That helps us with alerting for medical or mental health issues or suicide prevention. Try to do that.
Gives them someone to talk to.
Okay. And I'll say this is, recent, there was an article recently talked about we've had some deaths over the past couple of years with some inmates and stuff dealing with suicide issues and stuff like this. And I did a 28-minute news conference. Roy, I don't know if you saw that, but I did about a 28-minute news conference explaining the dynamics of mental health and medical concerns in a jail setting, starting outside the jails, and what you see outside the jails, bring it inside the jail. So a lot of times if you got an addiction or mental health concern outside, a lot of times you bring it inside. A couple things. Medical assistant treatment. We've been talking about this for a couple of years.
Yes, sir.
Basically that deals with
addiction to alcohol or drugs, opiates.
and what we're trying to do is we want to make sure that if a person has an addiction, whether it be alcohol or drugs, that we stabilize that person while they're in our facility. Now, for the past couple of years, I've been working with the different companies, looking at grants. I think there's some grants now through the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services that we're looking at to apply for medical assisted treatment, where if a person comes into our facility that is being treated prior to coming in with medical issues and stuff for addiction and stuff like this,
correct,
that we can have a continuation of service, and then when the person transitions out, try to reconnect them with their provider.
Correct.
Stuff. So we want to make sure that if a person has an addiction, we deal with that situation while they're in there, and we're not there yet. We're working with our health provider in our jail that we contract with. We're working with our county government because it's a funding issue, and we're working with the state to see what kind of grants are available through public health to help us do it. And our public health provider, let me jump to that. Our public health provider and our health director, and we got a lot of help during COVID, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
All right, during COVID, a lot of jails, we got messaging is, do we do shot clinics for our inmates in our jail when COVID was going on? And our interest was making sure that our inmates stayed well during the COVID. And we did a great job. You did a great job. I appreciate all the detention staff did a great job on making sure we kept ourselves healthy and also the inmate. But what did we do?
We had shot clinics.
We ran shot clinics with J&J vaccinations, and we got a lot of participation.
We did.
You know, we had to be careful. We can't say everything because of HIPAA, but we did run a shot clinics, and we want to thank our Rockingham County Public Health Department Health Director for helping us to be able to do these programs and keep our inmate population safe while they're in there, because everybody out of jail is somebody's family member.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about COVID care. We talked about mental health care in our jails, medical care in our jails, suicide issues in our jails, addiction issues, jail ministry. Real quick, we have a jail ministry. I've always supported the faith group, our pastors and our jail chaplains and stuff like this. How many chaplains do we have right now? We have a primary chaplain, and then we have.
We're down actually since.
Well, we're about 20.
Yes, somewhere around there.
Okay, and listen, if you are a pastor, or you a person that has worked in a ministry, especially you have background in addiction and mental health areas and stuff like this, if you and you want to work with us in our faith community in the jail, you can just contact Captain Brown.
Yes.
And Captain Brown's number, 634-3232. Ask for Captain Brown, and he'll let you know. And we'd love to get you on board to help us and stuff, because we don't turn any of our chaplains away.
Right.
I always believe that if we can impart something with our inmate population while they're there,
right.
It means a lot. And also, I want to help the person so when they come out, they don't come back. Okay. Let's see. Let me see what else I got here. Officers, stress. How do officers deal with stress when they're detention officers? How do they deal with stress?
We suggest you get a hobby. Do something
outside of the jail.
Yes,
but it is stressful. A lot. Sometimes you hear hollering, you hear noise.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, if they're in the jail, don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
They're there because of what they've done.
Right.
So the thing is, we have to make sure that we get along, we look after our population, make sure we maintain safe jails, but we need to make sure that we look after our detention officers. Right now is a tough time. It's hard to get detention officers.
Yes.
It's hard to get deputies because a lot of people don't want to go into corrections or don't want to go into public safety and law enforcement and other services. But we're going to continue to recruit.
Yes.
You and I and others go out to the college and other locations where they're training, and I know we do the recruitment and stuff like this. But what was something, if you could say something about your staff, your correctional officers that work directly under you, the detention officers, what would you say?
I would say they're definitely a hard-working group.
Would you say we got the best detention officers in the state of North Carolina?
Well, I'll be a little biased. I work here. Yes, we do.
Well, I agree with you. I totally agree with you, Wendell. We're continuing to recruit. Right now, the county just passed a new pay budget. I just want to let everybody know, and I think detention officers right now are going to be starting a little bit above what?
40,000.
So a little bit above 40,000. So if you're interested in a career in corrections, detention, contact Captain Brown at the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. $40,000 starting. It's not bad. Plus the benefits. Again, we're looking for a good quality force. We are very diversified, and again, like I said, we're about out of time. So I'm going to say, Wendell, I appreciate you, Captain Brown. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your service, your dedication to citizens of Rockingham County, and also make sure we have a safe detention facility. I want to thank everyone for listening to the Sheriff Spotlight for this month of September. Again, we look forward to seeing everybody in October, and we'll have a new guest.
Yes,
thank you, Wendell.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.